Hey everybody, it's me, Steve SCHNEE, the CD Junkie, and welcome to the first episode of That's Pop Power. On this episode of That's Pop Power, I am going to tell you that I am no longer doing my But Is It Power Pop videos, because essentially social media has ruined Power Pop for me. Yes, that's right. Social media has ruined Power Pop for me. And not the music itself. I love the music. But just kind of trying to turn people on to music, and then people having so many different opinions on what power pop is. I'm not here to tell people what power pop is. I'll leave that to the so-called experts on Facebook. I'm just here to try to turn people on to music that I think that they will like, because I love this stuff. It's joyful, it's passionate. So essentially, every episode of That's Pop Power will include power pop and power pop adjacent artists. But don't give up, all you power pop fans, because there's plenty of that music here. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go quickly through some of the stuff I've talked about in the past, and maybe there's things in here that I haven't discussed yet, but I know that not everybody has watched all the episodes, so hopefully you're going to find something new and exciting here. And of course, I'll tell you if I think it's power pop or if I don't think it's power pop. But the thing is I'm always featuring things I'm really excited about. And if you like some of the artists featured here and have never heard the other artists, I highly recommend that you seek them out. We're going to start off with what I consider the quintessential power pop album. Yes, that's right, I said power pop. You're either going to say 2020, the Rubinoos, or The Beat. Paul Collins' Beat is, in my opinion, an album that everybody should own. This is the first album. This is the album with Rock and Roll Girl and Don't Wait Up For Me and Let Me Into Your Life. That is pop perfection. Great guitar pop. I highly recommend it to anybody who just loves to be slayed by great tunes. And then we're going to go to something more recent. This is rock and roll with great melodic flair. It is the Amplifier Heads, Lauda. This is Sal Baglio from the Stompers, and I've talked about this in depth. I even did an interview on my Beach Blanket Fort Bingo podcast with Sal, and we discussed the Stompers and we discussed the Amplifier Heads. So this is one that's highly recommended if you love just great rock and roll with power pop hooks and with such a passion for creating great rock and roll music. Definitely that. Oh, here's one that's nice. The Wondermints, the first album. This is the band that actually became Brian Wilson's backing band, and this is their debut album. It is just self-titled. My favorite Wondermint song is on this album. This is Japanese only, I believe. My favorite song is called Libby Land, and it's on it. Our thoughts go out to everybody who knew and loved Nick, who passed away. But the Wondermints, great melodic 60s inspired hooks, but they had a unique sound, and it's just a wonderful album to listen to. All their albums are real fun to listen to, but this is the first one that I ever heard, and it's joyous. And let's go to one of my favorite albums of all time, Squeeze, East Side Story. This is essential to anybody who loves just great melodic pop. This is the album. It does have Tempted on it, but it's also got other great stuff like In Quintessence, Someone Else's Heart, Woman's World, Piccadilly. It's just jam-packed full of greatness. And most of the album is produced by Elvis Costello, and there is a track that's produced by Dave Edmunds. So that's really cool. And here is a great, great, great album also in my probably top 50, 75 albums of all time. Get Smart by Squire. This is Jangle. This is Mod. This is Power Pop. This is everything all rolled into one. Great tunes. It goes anything from Beatles influenced to Stax, Tamla, Motown influenced. It's really fantastic. Squire, Get Smart. Everybody should have a copy of the Cars Candy-O, their second album. This is my favorite. Is it power pop? No, it's not. It is just pop power. It has so many great hooks. Sure, there's keyboards. A lot of people call it new wavy, but it's just great rock and roll. Candy-O. This is the remaster with bonus tracks. See there? Cherry Twister, first album. Absolutely fabulous. It's just great guitar pop. And Steve Ward is one of those people that is capable of writing a melody that is sweet and beautiful. And even though the guitars may be jangling and it may be upbeat, it's still touching and wonderful. And I'll probably be doing a CD Junkie episode dedicated to Cherry Twister and Steve Ward at some point in the future. So, but this is definitely, if you can track this down, definitely do it. It's a fabulous album. And then we'll go to the Jags. Of course, everybody knows the song Back of My Hand. This here is a UK CD. It's called The Best of the Jags. And what this does is it combines their two albums. I mean, unfortunately, there's no EP tracks or single B-sides or anything, but it does have both albums. And apart from Back in My Hand, there's a bunch of great songs on there. Desert Island Disc, The Sound of GOODBYE, Here Comes My Baby. Lots of great stuff on there. You should definitely check that out. Here's another recent one. Jeff Whalen, formerly from SAR and also in the band The Brothers Steve. This is bubblegum, power pop, guitar pop, indie pop, everything combined. It's just chock full of great melodies. Here's another great slice of guitar pop. That is the Ruddles. Yes, this is actually the CD version, and it has all those bonus tracks. And it does have the booklet in it with all that fun stuff that we loved about the Ruddles so much. And then this is definitely not power pop. This is somewhere between power pop and synth pop. It is a band called New Music. It's actually a 2-CD set. The first album is definitely right down the middle, somewhere between power pop and synth pop. It's got a lot of like 12-string acoustic guitar, these great hooks, great melodies. When they got to the second album, Anywhere, it was kind of closer to the synth pop sound, but it was still very, very nice and melodic. And fans of the first album definitely love that second album as well. But definitely a band to listen to if you haven't heard them already. Here's a band with a weird band name, but great pop hooks. Dogs Die in Hot Cars. This has just some great songs like I Love You 'Cause I Have To, God Hopping. Lots of great stuff on this. This came out during the era of Britpop and stuff, and they were just overlooked. But if you get a chance, check out Dogs Die in Hot Cars, because they are great, melodic, and wonderful. And one of the earliest, in my opinion, power pop albums ever, that is the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. I have said this over and over again, that this is probably one of the first true power pop albums. This is the UK version, so it has all the songs from the movie, and plus a whole other side of great tunes, including I'll Be Back, which is one of my favorite Beatles songs ever. So, Hard Day's Night. And let's talk about one of the greatest classic power pop bands of all time. That is 2020. If you are a fan of new wave or guitar pop or power pop, and if you haven't heard 2020, then you're not a fan of new wave or guitar pop or power pop, because this is solid from beginning to end. Both albums, I love them both. In fact, there's a few bonus tracks here that were part of a single that came off the second album. But this is absolutely classic. You need to own this if you don't already. Here's another modern one, Weaklings 3, and it is fab and gear. Obviously influenced by the Beatles. There's so much more depth to them than just a Beatles cover band. You know, they have done Beatles covers in the album. Their first album was basically a bunch of songs that Lennon and McCartney wrote that they gave away to other artists, and the Weaklings sort of took it back and made it sound, far more Beatlesque. But by this album, they're just absolutely fabulous. You definitely check out Weaklings 3 on Gem Records. That is available now. And the last artist that I'm going to talk about in this episode of That's Pop Power is The Vapors. Nuclear Days and Magnets. Fabulous. They have a brand new album coming out in 2020. I've heard 2 tracks from it, and they sound like they're situated right in between these albums. The great immediate pop of the first album and the more thoughtful depth of the second album. Some people call them melodic punk. Some people call them mod. Some people call them new wave. Some people call them power pop. Whatever it is, it's just great guitar pop, and you should not be without the Vapors in your collection. So, you know what? I think I might throw one more in there because it's so special. Is it power pop? No. Is it power pop adjacent? Maybe. Is it probably one of the best albums of 2018? Yeah. Definitely. It is Wilkerson. This is Danny Wilkerson, and this is on Spider Pop Records. This is like Squeeze meets Supertramp meets Jellyfish meets the Beach Boys. And I don't even want to use the term power pop, because then that will mean that this album belongs in a certain category. This album belongs in your collection, plain and simple. Forget about what genre, what category it is. It is Wilkerson by Danny Wilkerson, and it is available on LP, it is available on CD, it is available on download. You can go to Spotify now and listen to it, but I never recommend people to stick with Spotify as the only way to listen to albums, because at times like this, we really need to support the artists, we need to support the labels, we need to support your favorite e-tailers, we need to support the music business, or else it's going to just crash and crumble. We need something physical copy in our hand. Anyway, that's it for this episode of That's Pop Power. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and remember me, I'm Steve SCHNEE, the CD Junkie.